Afternoon, Jonathan Nixon here. Thought I'd post a video today kind of explaining a little bit more about the benefits of this app and introduce you to a weekly take a walk with me kind of video that you'll see on a routine basis uploaded to your account. Growing up, walking was always important to me as a way for me to kind of share my thoughts with myself, think things through, sometimes process very difficult experiences and also very beneficial experiences in my life. There's always a thought that I had of how I could incorporate this into my practice of being able just to take a stroll and share some of the thoughts that I have with my clients in a very freestyle kind of way. So, came up with this in relation to my app. Thought I'd do a weekly video exploring my mind, not only as a therapist, but personally. Maybe some of the things, stories, ideas that I share hopefully can be helpful to you, creating new ideas, maybe different perspectives about whatever it is that we are working on together in our therapeutic journey. I'd like to start off this video kind of talking about a very fond memory that I had growing up around my grandfather and how he used to force me to take long walks with him every morning during my summer breaks when I'd spend it at their house, and how I came to learn to love the feel of the morning air and the stroll through a neighborhood and just the simple observations one can collect during a morning stroll. My grandfather is a very interesting character in my life. He's passed away now. He's been gone for nearly 10 years or so. But he was a very influential person when it came to taking things easy, helping me stay humble to some of the more impulsive seductions that come with life. And one thing that we really came to bond over growing up was our morning walks during those summer breaks. My grandfather used to take me to a McDonald's every morning during those walks. He'd give me my favorite, an Egg McMuffin with hash browns and orange juice, which is now coffee, being an adult, but an orange juice as a kid. And then he would sneak, to my grandmother's disapproval, a sausage McMuffin, which was a no-no for his restricted diet. And it wasn't necessarily the conversations we'd have on these walks that was profound. Sometimes we rarely said more than 10 words to each other. But it was more than less, it was just a way I would observe him just walking, appreciating his environment. The way he would stop and point things out to me. Insignificant details to me as a kid, but profound details for him as the elder. The different types of flowers, a little bit of the history when it came to the Hispanic origins of East Los Angeles. Some of the people that were my relatives that I may not have knew due to that Hispanic background. And also watching him sometimes just talk to people. Have a 20-minute conversation with a man who would be watering down his sidewalk, which I still never quite figured out was the purpose. But and them talking in broken English, mixing in Spanish that completely flew over my mind at the time. It's a special time. It was also an influential time because it instilled something in me that was very important, which was making sure to get out, take a walk in the community, and allowing your brain just to kind of drift with the environment as you circle the old familiar places within your town. As a therapist, I preoccupy myself with trying to find the right questions that I can give to people during their most distressful moments, sometimes during their most emotional moments, in order to help them kind of make a connection of meaning and purpose to something deeper that can just make the world or life a little bit more bearable. Hell, even enjoyable if you're crazy enough to think it. A lot of questions I would have, sometimes while we'd walk, that would be in my mind, that I would never share with my grandpa, would be those typical adolescent questions that tended to stay with me for a while. Like the purpose to life. You know? How or who was also destined to be in my life, the connections I was supposed to make. Why I wasn't able to make the connection sometimes to the people that I knew loved me, my parents, my relatives. The questions about who I was, what I wanted, what I was becoming. Questions about passions, what I could accomplish, what was worth my time, what was worth learning about. And then, of course, the last one, what I found enjoyable, what I wanted to do with the privilege of time, free thought, and some of the luxuries I had as a kid when it came to the big family and the resources provided to me by those who loved me. All very profound questions. I wish I could tell you that I answered them between then and now. However, I find myself still thinking about those same questions, just in different forms, with different faces, in different environments. You know, as I'm walking right now, I can't help but to appreciate how good it feels for that sun to hit my face. I don't know if you can see it in the camera when the shadow covers me right here. Whew. Right, but that subtle shift in feeling. And that anticipation when the sun is going to pick up right about here. Right there against my back. And it just sort of warms up my shoulders. And it collects right there in the upper back. And that little treat of wind that's now pushing against my face. And this turn right here, just to give you a little insight, I'm just walking in little circles behind my office right now. Stretching my legs, had a long day, full of sessions, kind of thinking to myself, going over some of the cases I've been working through today, kind of contemplating over some of the general concepts I was encountering today. You know, what's it like to be a teen again, navigating those adolescent turmoils of growing up and differentiating from anxious parents, people of different cultures and different timelines. Depression would be always thinking about the evolution of depression and how it changes between people, how diverse the experience can be between those that find themselves living with it. Even separation, how to cope after the loss or the sudden split of a loved one. All heavy topics, all requiring their own path of healing. Even as I'm walking now, I find myself in the same pattern as a kid, tempted to get lost in the drift of thought, thinking about how big everything can be, just kind of rambling, looking at the new insignificant details of my surroundings, and the brown foliage still sticking to the trees, the amount of trucks that tend to be within the parking lots next to me. Just open thought. One of my hopes by making these videos is to encourage everybody that I'm able to have the opportunity to talk to, be in contact with, but to encourage them to take a walk, to make sure that they're exercising that free child within their mind, that little Einstein that wants to look at the world like a scientist, ask those right questions, lean against those right curiosities that just make the everyday seem bigger, give you more details and riches into life. And to hopefully take those curiosities and those questions and write them down. Put them in a journal. Document them. Collect them as your biography for life. And hopefully, in my more fantasy state, share those with your kids or your loved ones when it comes to what you learn about this ride of living. If you like, I'm always open for you to share with me your own videos of walking. Take a camera out, take a stroll. Alright, if you feel uncomfortable doing it, put a headphone in your ear and pretend you're talking to a relative or a loved one. I find that's a good way to conceal my neuroticism sometimes in public, especially in the car. Pretend I'm talking to somebody when really I'm talking to myself. You've all been there. Don't judge. It's a beautiful environment where I'm at right now. Sun on my face, wind settle enough where it doesn't cause a chill. It's quiet. The ambience of distant traffic. It's kind of a tongue twister. That feeling of completion after days of work, that's always a good one. And the anticipation of the freedom for tonight, maybe a little football, maybe a glass of wine. I don't know. I haven't made my decisions on that. But be back with the family, the boys, the wife. Sometimes reminding myself of the simple pleasures that I have to work hard to keep can be humbling. A few questions I'd like to recommend to you throughout the week in the spirit of self-reflection. What are the privileges that maybe you underestimate on a daily basis? We all have them. Maybe you're waking up from a nice cozy bed, lined in clean bed sheets, soft pillows, thick comforters, perhaps a favorite stuffed animal or two. Believe it or not, those are privileges that not everybody gets to enjoy on a daily basis. Maybe it's the privilege of eating a special breakfast, a unique breakfast, maybe one of your likings. I know I'm a bacon and cream cheese gentleman, but perhaps you enjoy a slice of bacon or two. Maybe a guava juice. I don't know. Whatever it is, just pay attention to it. What does it feel like to really get to enjoy those things? What does it really taste like? What are some of the things maybe you overlook in those privileges? Write them down, keep them in a journal, or spend a couple minutes wrapping some thoughts around them. Associate those senses that touch those privileges. What's it like to be in that soft bed? How it feels against your skin? How does it feel after a long day work of work? A long day's worth of work. There we go. And just to crash inside that bed, let that pillow hug both sides of your ears and drift off to sleep. What's it like to wake up first thing in the morning and take a bite out of a warm bagel? Perhaps a stack of pancakes. Or maybe what's it like to feel the sun on your skin in the last days of fall, right before the dusk of winter? Just think about how good those sensations are. And tell them to yourself. Validate them. Say you like them. They feel good. And I'm happy they exist. Because I'm happy I exist. Let me know what you think. Write it in your journal on the app. Share it with me. Or not. Choice is up to you. But stay tuned for my next video. I'll talk to you probably sometime next week on my next walk. And I'll see you then.